Well, welcome back to another POS Cloud, which is the Follow 2 version. And this particular video is going to really focus directly on writing a ticket. So we're going to go ahead and log into the system. We're going to log in as a counter person, actually as a manager here. And writing a ticket's very simple. It's the same exact screen as editing a ticket. So whether you're writing a ticket, changing a ticket, you can always come back to the same screen. Nothing's going to be different. First thing you want to do, of course, is search. Now, typically, if you search for tests, you're going to get all the test customers. If you search for Joe, you're going to get all the Joes. But let's say a customer walks in, they give you a phone number. Okay, so I'm going to type the number. I don't have to put dashes. When I get up to the number of characters, it's going to automatically put dashes. So I enter their phone number. Let's say they give you decide to go by phone number. So I'm going to enter a phone number, hit search. It's going to say, hey, this customer is not found. Would you like to add? Sure. So it's going to bring the phone number over, and it turns out that this is a Smith Jano, and I'm going to hit save. Now, that immediately takes you to the customer screen where you can add their email address or SMS phone number. You can add comments. The default of the system, which is set in store settings, says that taxable is automatic, loyalty is automatic. So in other words, they're automatically added to the loyalty system in taxable. Of course, you can turn that off. You can enter an address. Normally, that's only needed for delivery customers, but the only thing you need in Follow and POS Cloud is the name and phone number. So go down to the bottom and say, hey, I want to now write a ticket. So the customer's been added. You don't even have to save once you get to this screen. So I'm going to just come in here and I'm going to hit write ticket. And you'll see that their name shows up in the blue box on the top. So we've searched for a customer. They're a new customer. We added them. We added the name. Now we're going to say, hey, I've got 3 scarves and they're dry cleaning. So I'm going to click 3 and scarf. It's going to appear over here. I can add my optional upcharges. Now, these optional upcharges can be connected to the class dry cleaning or to a specific item. You can choose in the optional upcharge area, I want this upcharge only to be for a scarf. Or you could say every time there's dry cleaning, I want that particular item. So I'm going to add a laundry item. So I'm going to click laundry. And you'll notice that the optional upcharges haven't changed yet until you go ahead and select the laundry item. So I'm going to select 2 robes, and I'm going to say large starch. That comes up automatically. But you will notice that the optional upcharges have immediately changed. And notice how I click the 3 lines on the left, and I can make the screen bigger and smaller. Okay, so depending on if you have a lot of items, you can do that. So I'm going to say that the robes are green and pink, okay, or beige. And I'm going to say that they're going to be multicolored. Okay. So I'm going to then come in here and choose something over 9, because you notice you're limited to 9. So greater than 9, I'm going to say I've got 12, and I've got 12 blouses, and with light starch. So you'll notice now that things tend to get a little bit bigger. So I've added 12 blouses, light starch, and I'm going to say they're cotton because I charge an extra 50 cents for cotton. Okay. If I come down here to household, it's a little bit different because now you get things with pleats. So I'm going to say, well, they've got curtains, and I charge $1.50 per pleat, kind of cheap. But I'm going to click that, and it's going to say, what's the number of pleats? Well, there's 22 pleats on that sucker. So now my total cost is $33. I've got 1 curtain. You'll notice the The quantity is only one because I only have one curtain. But after the pleat, you'll see a 22 and it's charging $33. Okay, very important. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to say that I've got 6 napkins that need to be cleaned. Then I'm going to go back to dry cleaning and I'm going to say, hey, I only have 1 skirt. So I don't need to click the quantity. I'm going to click the skirt. Okay, and again, I can add, after you click the item, unless you have a 4-step charge, you can add your various different optional upcharges. Those are in yellow. And those are optional, meaning that you can click several of them or none of them. Now, you'll notice that there is a % one because you can create an optional upcharge with a percentage and that'll give you a discount, or if you put the value in as a negative number, then it switches over and actually can add to it. So you could take 20% off or add 20% as an optional upcharge, and we'll go into the settings when we talk about upcharging. But again, you can add as many colors as you want, as many fabrics. But if you add these things, which is damaged or faded or beaded, okay, so I'm going to click faded. And you'll notice here that it automatically adds to the skirt. This item is faded, and what will print on the ticket is we are not responsible for the fading of this item, and there's a little place where they can initial, okay? So that's very important. That happens in beaded and damaged and faded. And so it gives you a little bit more versatility. You will notice that if I select miscellaneous and I select, hey, I want to add a mask, you can, in the item management, assign images, and we have hundreds of them for every type of item. And it will automatically insert that into the button. So if you want images, you can very easily assign that in the item management. And watch the item management video for more detail. So we have laundry items and dry cleaning items and household. I do have napkins and I want to change the price. So all you need to do is click the item, then you click change price, and then come in here and say, hey, I want to charge $5. And I want to override the price. So do you want to change the unit price? I'm going to say no. And so therefore, it's going to automatically take the 6 times the 5. Okay? And so at that point, I can also change the quantity. So I can say, hey, instead of 6 items, I've only got 4. And I can click that. You'll notice the 4 changes, but also it takes that unit price of $5, multiplies by the new quantity, which is 4. So it gives you ultimate flexibility. There is a describe in price. So if I have an ugly shirt, and I want to type that, so I'm going to type ugly shirt, and I'm going to charge $22 for that, and that's going to add the ugly shirt to the unit cost. And then you can add upcharges to it, you can add optional upcharges to it, you can do a number of things. So we're going to go back to dry cleaning here, and we're going to now select an item that has 4 upcharges. So I'm going to select a dress. So one dress is $20. And you'll notice it says select the 4 upcharge to continue. It's one of the blue ones. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the 2-piece, which adds no money. The 1-piece adds $10, and with a belt adds $30. Now these are all fictitious, of course. But I'm going to go select the 2-piece to the dress, so it keeps it at $20. It didn't add anything to it. But then I can add cotton to the dress. That adds 50 cents. And I can say, hey, the dress needs to be needs to be boxed. So I can say, okay, I want to add a box, and that adds $1. Okay. Or I can add what's called buttons. Let's say there's 6 buttons. So I'm going to click 6 and go 6 buttons. So the buttons did add to the cost. And since I added 6 buttons, you'll see that it added the cost for 6 buttons added to the shirt. So before you click one of the optional upcharges, if you want to change the quantity, so in other words, it's one dress, but you want to add 6 buttons, then before you click the buttons, you just click 6 and then the optional upcharge. And it'll add that 6 only for the buttons, but not to the overall quantity of the dress itself. And that's very important. So we're kind of going through a lot of major things, but basically it's choose your class. It defaults to dry cleaning. And then choose your quantity and the item, or just click the item and then add the optional upcharges, colors, and fabrics. If the customer decides, hey, wait a minute, $221 is too expensive, of course, you can select any of the items here. And I'm going to select the 2 robes, and you can remove the item. So again, you select it from the left and just remove it. It'll recalculate the total. Notice it's now $202. You got 18 pieces. And now we're ready to get to the print screen. So you can also void it, which is right next, and that'll basically keep the ticket, but it marks it voided so it doesn't show up on any of the sales reports, but it will show up on your voided report. So you can then indicate. So I'm going to hit save. When you get to the save, you also get a void. So there isn't a cancel, it's a void. So you're not deleting the ticket. That way the manager can see what was being done. You'll see that the total price includes an environmental fee, because this particular, these classes that you chose had some environmental fees selected. So for instance, dry cleaning and laundry and household. Alteration may not have an environmental fee, so if you have any alteration items, it goes through each of the items and says, okay, is that class environmentally fee connected? Then it will go ahead and add the environmental fee for that class. Same with taxes. In the class manager, you can say, okay, is this particular class applicable for environmental fee? Is it applicable for tax? And then also in the coupons, you can say, hey, I get 10% off, but only on dry cleaning items, or only on dry cleaning and laundry. So when you click on the coupons and you go to Coupon Manager, you can see how you can fine-tune that coupon. Now, dollar coupons are not connected to applicable classes because it just doesn't make sense. You're taking $1 off the ticket, okay? And it doesn't matter whether it's dry cleaning, laundry, or household. It's just going to take $1 off the top. But the percents do apply because it goes through each item and says, okay, is this coupon allowed for that class, for that item? And then it'll immediately add that up to the total value. Now, on the screen, I want to point out a couple other things. You see a prepayment and you see the red X's. So if that particular customer, they complain, I'm not going to pay an environmental fee, you can always click the red X and it'll remove the environmental fee from that particular ticket, from just that ticket. Or if they say to you, hey, we're not taxable, here's a note, you can click the red X and it'll take the tax off. If you accidentally assign a coupon, you can remove it. Same with prepayment. You can add the prepayment, but if you made a mistake, remove it. Now, over on the right, you can see it add deposit. Deposit doesn't take away from the total of the ticket. It just simply says, hey, I'm collecting $50 on this ticket. And when they come to pick it up, if the cost was $50 or less, then I could use that deposit to pay for that ticket, or I can give the deposit back and they could pay for the ticket directly. For instance, leather, you may want to take a deposit in case they never show up again. Wedding dresses, alterations, you may want to take deposits. Deposits are very similar to prepayments. I personally recommend that people don't do deposits, that they just do a prepayment, prepay 50%. You don't have to prepay the total amount. So if it's $200, you can take a $100 prepayment. Now, there's also a clear prepayment. It's kind of redundant because there's a red X there. You can also print tags. So if you've got tag printing set up and you're editing the ticket and you just want to print the tags, you can click the tag button. Or if you're not going to actually print the ticket, but you do want to print the tags, you can click that button. Email ticket is kind of separate. It's just going to take the ticket and it's going to create a PDF and email it to the customer. So they get a nice clean copy. Print rush is just a way of printing a regular ticket, but it's going to say rush on the top because the customer needs that rush today. Pay with deposit means that, hey, if there is a deposit on this ticket, I can take that deposit and apply it toward the prepayment. And again, there's duplicate print rushes. Not sure why that's there. Save and close will actually completely save this ticket as if you printed it, but it just won't print it. So for instance, you can email a copy and then hit save and close. It will completely save it. Direct sale is exactly like the print. It's going to print a ticket. It's going to save the ticket, but it's going to mark the ticket picked up. So in other words, if it's something where you're writing a ticket, but it only takes a second to press the item and you're going to hand it to the customer, this way you don't have to go to the payment screen or the pickup screen and pick it up later. It's going to mark it picked up. So it's not going to be in the workflow process. It's going to be, hey, this has already been picked up by the customer. That's very true for miscellaneous items. They buy soap or hangers or masks or anything like that. You want to do a direct sale. Now, you will notice that there's these garment tag fields, and that's if you're not using the automatic garment tag printer, which prints the little tags every time you print a ticket, but you're buying the 7-Up tags or from Cleaner Supply. So let's say you do green 1 to 4 or something like that. That will actually automatically save when you hit print or save and close, but it'll print it on the ticket itself. So I'm going to hit print. Now I'm going to change the date of pickup to Monday. So I'm just going to click Monday, and we're going to preview it. But you also have the option of emailing it. It'll email it to the customer. Okay, on the report screens, that'll email to the manager. But with tickets, it's going to always email to the customer. Hitting the green button, always look for the green buttons. That'll send it directly to the printer, and it'll print the number of copies you haven't set up. But for today, let's preview it so we can see what it looks like. And it says preview. Do you want to do that now? It's going to go create the PDF and then allow you to view the PDF. And let's look at the ticket here. You got the barcode. You got the ticket number. You've got, they're not on a route. It was dropped on 21st. It's going to be picked up on the 22nd. This is the time, okay, that it was actually dropped off by. It's got to be picked up on Monday, so it tells them, hey, don't forget Monday. Shows all the items. So you see the household with the pleats, the napkins, the skirt. And you'll notice on the skirt, we said that it was light brown, but the item was faded. So it says we're not responsible for this faded, and they can sign. So the customer should initial that. There is the ugly shirt, describing price, and the dress, which we added 6 buttons to. So you see right next to the add buttons to the shirt, it says 6. So That particular upcharge said shirt, but I personally recommend you do generic upcharges, like just do add button and come up with a standard price. But you'll see the subtotal, the tax, the EPA percentage. 18 pieces, there was no prepayment, no deposit shows, but it does show the garment tag and shows the total cost and comments down at the bottom that you can edit in the setup screens and the store manager. So this would print, and you can print 2 copies, 3 copies, 4 copies, whatever. You can set the default for the number of copies. So it brings you back to the main screen, and you'll notice now that if you click search, it shows the new customer. Okay, it doesn't have any information because we didn't add anything except they are taxable and they're in the loyalty program. At this point, that's writing a ticket. And at that point, I'm going to leave you alone, and that's the end of our Write Ticket video.